What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode, opening up another podcast here to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, I'm joined by my good buddy here, Mythic AZ. What's up, brother man? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Can't complain. How are you doing?
Good. Next week
Yes,
is free
sir.
agency, man. We've been talking about it for quite some time, and I'm excited about finally some news, man. It's just been so dry here for Arizona Cardinals, just news, just in general. And I'm finally glad that we're gonna be able to kind of talk about something, right? New players, players of ours, maybe going to a different team, that different stuff. So super exciting. This last week was definitely filled with a lot of content for Combine, but it's cool to kind of look up personally, but at the end of the day, it really just kind of depends on who the Arizona Cardinals draft at the end of the day. But we ended up getting the Combine. Were you watching a lot of it this last week?
I was watching a good amount of it. There's a lot of things that are crazy with this combine. Like a lot of things are insane. Like Xavier Worthy, I believe, cracked a 4.2, fastest combine in NFL history. Insane. Joe Olt's apparently almost 7 feet tall as well. So
Sheesh.
he's like 6'8", 6'9", or something like ridiculous. And then who's the other lineman? I think
Fashanu.
Mims. I think Mims ran like a had like a 4.33 shuttle at like 340 pounds as well.
I
Like
heard
just
of
a lot of
Fashanu's
insane
stock
stats.
went down. Is that right?
I'm not sure,
Oh, okay.
but Mims had like a 4.33 shuttle at like 340 pounds as a lineman. Like insane. Is there anyone who's like standing out in your eyes that's
Um,
like just insane? I know you posted about Rome.
yeah, I really, I've always liked Roma Dunze, just even before we were even, talking about this draft content. I really do like him, but another guy that I really like is Chop Robinson. Just speed, man, speed. And I'm not saying for the fourth overall pick. I mean, keep in mind that there's so many prospects out there, and the Cardinals have met with a lot of different prospects. And
Oh yeah.
I know a lot of people were just trying to grab into like any piece of information to kind of see what the Cardinals are going to do, but like just as something Monty Ossenfort ended up saying, nobody knows what's going to happen. Like literally nobody knows what's going to happen. There's 32 picks in the first round, and literally every single person that is making that pick has their own mind, has their own mindset. And on top of that, that one person is getting influenced by probably 5 or 6 people in that war room. So like nobody knows what exactly is going to happen in this NFL draft. So uh, I like the prospects. I think the prospects look really, really good. That D line class looks pretty good. There's a lot of kind of rumblings about the wide receiving core, or the wide receiving class in this in this prospect class coming up, that they look really, really, really good. So there are some people convincing themselves saying, Marvin Harrison Jr. is not that big of a deal at the end of the day. And we're going to dive into a little later on. So, other than that, I mean, I've been watching the combine, but not to the point where I'm like completely glued to the TV personally. I'm not. Have you been like watching
Oh
every single
no,
position?
it's a lot of. I watched the first day
Yeah,
and like a little of the second day, and it was just whatever's on Twitter that I
yeah,
found. I just kept up with all the updates, but I mean, there's a lot of crazy things coming out
yeah.
in terms of just like speed, shuttle cone, just everything that's dropping. And Xavier Worthy breaking the all-time record, just crazy performance. This is a great draft to have a bunch of picks in. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, something we're going to dive into as well a little later on is the fact that we got obviously free agency happening next week. And then we've been talking about one of our own, Hollywood Brown, testing the free agency market. Is he coming back? Is he not coming back? So we're going to be diving into that a little later on, because that free agency market, that wide receiving market that we thought was going to be so lucrative and so great, is kind of now dwindled down and is now very, very dried up. So we're going to be diving into that a little later on. But let's talk about something here real quick, and it's all based off of rumors, right? People are speculating back and forth that there was a report that came out, I believe it was sometime last week, that the Cardinals are a favorite to move out of that fourth overall spot, because with what we're hearing right now around the NFL, people are saying that it's going to be quarterback, but still they're saying that the Arizona Cardinals are prime position to still trade back. What are your thoughts here, Mythic? Because I know you're a big advocate of Marvin Harrison Jr. If he's there, you got to get him. What are your thoughts on this whole scenario? If the Cardinals are sitting at the fourth overall spot and Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, what do you think the Cardinals should do?
I really think it's just the options are available, but if Marvin Harrison's there, you can't pass that up. I still just don't see an avenue that the Cardinals end up like. Let's just say you just drop to number 4, and it goes QB, 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 and Marvin Harrison's just right there. I don't think they're gonna pass on it. Like I just can't see it. Like obviously it is an option, but I just can't see it. I'm like struggling to like come to grips with us just like having Marvin Harrison in our hands and just being like, yeah, we're gonna trade back this time. Like we did have Will Anderson last time, but at the end of the day, we
Yeah.
had it's a great trade. But like at this time, I think Marvin Harrison's just a little bit different. I really do. Because who would we trade back for? Like where would we trade back into? Like 7, 8, 9?
Yeah, I mean, the thought is that if the Cardinals do trade out, it's going to be for a quarterback needy team, right? Because I think we all know what the top 3 quarterbacks are. All right, Williams, Daniels, and then May. And now people are trying to throw into the mix. Not Bo Nix. Who's the other?
McCarthy.
McCarthy. Yeah, McCarthy are not trying to throw into the mix as well. I'm not sure if he's going to be a top 4 personally. And I know obviously right now this is the time of smoke screens. This is the time of obviously kind of throwing stories out there and seeing, if something sticks at the end of the day. I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen like that because I do like Paris Johnson Jr. I really, really do like Paris Johnson. And don't get it twisted. I really do like him. But my big guy that I wanted last year was Will Anderson Jr. That's exactly who I wanted. Now, it was a big toss-up between Jalen Carter and Jalen Carter and Will Anderson Jr. It was big, but the moment that story came out about Jalen Carter, I was like, I'm not sure if Monty's gonna touch out the 6-foot pole, right? Because obviously with the concerns of the off the field, we're looking for people that really want to deal with football, and I thought that was a perfect fit for Will Anderson Jr. And the Cardinals did pass upon him, and people were saying I can't miss prospect with him as well, but Cardinals passed up on him and still got an offensive lineman. Can the Cardinals do that again? I guess that's the big question out there, right? Can they go out there and just not go after the guy that most people want in Marvin Harrison Jr.? Are we going to have to convince ourselves that this is the right move again? I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to convince myself, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be able to. I think this is always going to be something that is always going to be lingering behind my mind. And it's like what is that quote? The whole something about like shame on you, shame on me type of
Fool
thing.
me once, shame
Yeah,
on you.
yeah,
Fool me
exactly.
twice,
Yeah.
or fool me once, shame on you, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Shame on
that
me,
quote.
fool me twice, shame on you.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to forgive it or not so much forgive it, but I can't forget. It's always going to be something behind my mind where I'm going to be like, Monty didn't do what we should have done. Right. And we are all talking about, let him cook. And I agree, but to an extent, like we got so many picks and we can only trade back so much. Like, what are we like? We just can't keep trading back. We just can't keep doing that. Like we got to get the first for sure fired guys. And I think right now me and you are in consensus that Marvin Harrison Jr. is that guy. If he's there. And if we do trade back to get another pick, right? And I think it sounds sweet on paper, but like you want to make sure that your first round pick is a bona fide superstar, a guy that's going to be able to change the core. And we will believe that Marvin Harrison Jr. is that guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't participate in any of the drills. He did have some interviews. And obviously one of them being the Arizona Cardinals. That's pretty exciting on its own. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm going to be able to forgive it or forget it. Not forgive it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to forget it. Like that's always going to be something in my mind if Monty skips out on Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, yeah. I think he's the best prospect we've seen at the receiver position in years. So,
and I get it. Like this class is deep, right? And I think a lot of people are saying, "Well, this class is deep," and I agree. But I think there's a big drop off, right? Do you agree? Like, there's a drop off between like Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe Malik Neighbors, and Roma Dunze, and then the rest of them are right here. But like, there's a big difference between Marvin and the rest of the guys that are still probably going to be starters, right? And most of them probably aren't, but there's still going to be a guy that's going to pick up in the second round, in the third round, that is going to be like, "Oh man, people missed out on him." Well, yeah, but Marvin might be that guy.
You really might, because you got the Neighbors, you got Marvin Harrison, Roma Dunze, and then you got like Brian Thomases, you got the Roman Wilsons, the Xavier Worthies, Adonde Mitchells, the Lad McConkey. Like obviously, I think there's personally a fall off. Then you have Jerry Rice's son, Luke McCaffrey, like all these people
Yeah.
in there to throw in too. It's just I feel like you said, there's kind of just like the upper echelon, and then it kind of gets like the middle of the pack. Not like wide receiver one guys right out the gate. Like I feel like Marvin Harrison is going to be a legit starting receiver rookie year.
Day
He's
one.
going to come in here and make probably the biggest impact of a receiver we had last year and this year. I think he's going to get like, I think he might crack 1,000 yards year one. Like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, if he could stay healthy, I agree. I agree if he could stay healthy for sure. But like, this is one of those things where you gotta have to take the risk, right? Every pick comes with the risk, right? Can he get hurt in rookie year? Yeah, he can, right? Knock on wood. Hopefully he doesn't. But like, that's the risk you kind of have to take if he's there. So I hope we do what needs to be done and still get him, because I bet your bottom dollar that the Chargers are going to swoop him up so fast, and it'll probably be the biggest steal that the Chargers end up getting Marvin Harrison Jr. Because I have a lot of those fans reaching out to me, and they send me that report from Diana Rossini. It's like, oh, do you guys think this is real? I was like, they better not. The Cardinals better not do that, because like I said, if he's there, then take him. If he's not there, then obviously everything's on the table, right? If it's Malik Neighbors and you want to trade back, or if it's Roman Dunze, or if it's Dallas Turner, anything like that, then okay, I can get on board with that. But if he's there and he's on your laps, don't overthink it, man. Don't overthink it. Just go with the guy. And here's the thing: it's not like we don't need a wide receiver. We need it. We need it. We absolutely do. So I say go after him. Do the right thing, at least in my mind, and see if this guy can be the next Larry Fitzgerald. Well, we've been hoping and wanting to get a next Larry for quite some time, and hopefully this could be the guy for us. So, so there was that. And then let's segue into free agency, shall we? Because we got a really big, I guess not really storyline, but like something that we need to talk about. I was a big advocate of do not bring Hollywood back. I'm tired of Hollywood Brown. But man, this was way before I thought this wide receiving or free agency class was going to be more lucrative. I'm not going to lie to you. T. Higgins got franchise tagged. There is a rumor out there saying that they franchise tag him to trade him. Who cares? I mean, he just franchise tagged. We know he's a Bengal. That's all I care about. He's a Bengal. We got Mike Evans, just signed a pretty good deal. Boom, right there. Pretty darn good deal.
$52 million for 2 years.
Yep. And then we got Pittman out there. Pittman's going to get signed, or at least franchise tag. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. They're not going to let him go.
Right? It would be silly to let him go. They're going to do that. So what does that leave us, right? There was a report that came out that said that the Jaguars are trying to bring back Calvin Ridley. And now there's Hollywood. Hollywood's there. Boom, right there. Hollywood is there for your taking. What are your thoughts here on Hollywood Brown? Do you think the Cardinals can bring him back? Do you want them to bring him back? Or would you rather double down in the draft? What are your thoughts?
I mean, you're sitting here in like a weird position where I feel like you do hold leverage at some point over Hollywood Brown, because at the end of the day, I mean, you don't have to bring him back, right? You can throw an offer out there, and if it doesn't stick or materialize anything, that's cool. You can just throw a flyer out there. I personally would. I'm not going long term though. I don't think I can go long term. Maybe 2-year deal, maybe 14 million a piece with like 15 in the second, like a 2-year 29. I'd be comfortable with like a 14 to like 15 million, but I could not imagine signing Hollywood for more than 2 years right now. Yeah. I think that's a very dangerous game. And I mean, he might laugh at 14, 15 million, you know? I mean, that's great money, but at the end of the day, the wide receiver market is inflated to the max, and the salary cap just went up by $30 million, and we gained an additional like 11 million.
Yeah.
So do I see him coming back? I don't know, but I would throw an offer like that. I don't necessarily know if it's disrespectful, but I mean, if he wants to be back, he'll be back, you know?
I mean, the biggest thing about Hollywood is if he didn't have the connection and the buddy with Kyler, I don't think we would be talking about him as much. But like, Hollywood is the buddy of Kyler, right? Or at least that's what we were sold, the fact that they were really good friends in OU. And it does make sense that they're still really close. We don't really know that, but they say that they are, so they are. So here's the thing. You can either bring it for a 2-year deal, and like you said, right, throw $14, $15 million his way, or do you franchise tag him for 1 year? But the thing is that the franchise tag market right now is probably upwards of about 19, close to $20 million for 1 year.
I mean, that's not a bad option. Yeah, it's really not, especially if you draft Marvin Harrison, but you're gonna have to eat that. I don't think he'll accept anything under like I don't know. What do you think he'd accept at this point?
Well, I mean, think
Because
about
they
it. I
said
mean,
they had contract negotiations during the season. They went positive at some point, but then nothing's happened.
nothing.
We're
Yeah.
just at a stall point.
I mean, and there was a report that came out and said that Hollywood Brown was gonna be, what do they say, like a future, like he's in the future plans is what they said. Like he's
Yeah.
in the future plans. I don't know if that meant this year, or this last year, or like future, right? We don't know that. It's very vague when the reports come out. So we kind of have to kind of dissect it and see exactly what it means. And obviously right now there's still a lot of concerns and there's still a lot of question marks with what's going to happen with that wide receiver number 2 position. And right now he's 26 years old. So it's not like he's like 22, 23. If I was Hollywood, like myself, I would think that this would be the opportunity to get the one of the biggest paydays I could possibly do, just like Christian Kirk did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's not to the favor of the Arizona Cardinals. Because if somebody can throw the bag at him and actually give him what 19, 21, 22 mil a year, I don't think the Arizona Cardinals are in any position to do something like that. Or if they do, I don't know if I would be comfortable with a 3-year, 4-year deal, but like there might be a team out there that's desperate enough. The Panthers, maybe.
Yeah.
When we talked about maybe the Cardinals should trade him away, it's just now we're finding ourselves in a situation where Hollywood Brown, I feel like he's got the chips on his table. I mean, yeah, we can franchise tag him. Yeah, we got that going for us. But in the end of the day, we only have one franchise tag. I mean, but who else are we going to do? Like, we don't have anybody else.
Right.
We don't want to bring him. He's really the only guy that we can very well use it for. And if we throw $14-15 million to him, I feel like it's a slap in the face. Like 14 million, 50, it's a game changer for most people, right?
Yeah.
For these players, man, it's a different world. It's an absolute different world. So the Cardinals really need to make a big decision here and decide if they're going to bring him back, because there's always that thought in our heads: what if Marvin isn't there? What if Marvin isn't there in the 4th overall spot, right? Or what if the Cardinals do trade back and there's a run on these wide receivers and Malik goes, Marvin's gone already, and then Roma Dunze gets swept from under them, and then we're kind of left with, oh boy, this wide receiving core is Michael Wilson, which I think we're all high on, but it's the 2nd year. We don't know if he's going to be able to stay healthy. And then we got a lot of smaller wide receivers, Dortch, which he's not signed yet. Rondell Moore. So Pasco, I believe, is still one more year with us.
Oh, gosh. I mean, because it kind of deters how you draft too. If you bring Hollywood back, you won't dabble back in with receiver early on. I mean, shoot, I forgot his name. I don't know why I'm blanking so hard, but there's a guy who I believe is like 5'10", 5'11" that I do really like. And who do they call the rat god? Do you know?
Rat god.
Or the rack. Like,
oh, rack.
Yeah, the rat god. I forgot his name, but he looked crazy.
You talking about in the draft or talking about free?
Yeah. I don't remember his name. If anyone in the chat remembers it, I'll probably see it. But there's someone they call like the rat god in college. He's insane. He's like 5'10", 5'9", maybe. Like, I don't know. I see like Rondell Moore similarities, which is a little scary, but at the same time, like he gets the ball in his hands and he's just gone. He's gone.
Really?
I would love to get him, but if we bring Hollywood Brown back, then obviously that's not an option. And man, it's scary, the receiver position right now, because that'd probably take like a 3rd round pick if I had to guess. And let's say you dabble into that and you take 2 receivers and Hollywood Brown's gone. For sure. But then you'd have 2 players who are like Rondell Moore, Greg Dortch, and him. It's kind of scary. I'm so ready to ship out Rondell Moore, personally. It just hasn't worked out. I like Rondell Moore a lot. It's just every time he gets the ball, I feel like he always just looks clunky. And I feel like it's always comes with him like either slipping or just unable to make the play. Like he has the speed, the athleticism, the strength. It just feels like he has like the entire package, just hasn't put it together.
Yeah, on the field when it matters. Yeah, I don't know if they will. I feel like we're kind of finding ourselves in a situation where the wide receiving core needs to be fixed. And if I just don't, unless the Cardinals do something in free agency in the wide receiving position, which is, like I said, it's kind of dwindled down to the point where I'm like, ooh, I don't know, these people really look that great. Michael Pittman hasn't signed yet, but like I'm assuming he's going to, or at least franchise tagged. There's Ridley in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
There's Calvin Ridley.
I mean, the Falcons would get a second-round pick if the Jaguars end up re-signing Calvin Ridley, I believe. There might be a loophole out of that, like maybe if they let him hit free agency. I'm not sure, but if they do end up signing him back, they owe a second-round pick. So they got a big decision right there because that's a wide receiver 1 for them.
With what me and you are saying, we feel comfortable with, and let's keep in mind, it's not our decision at the end of the day. It's Monty's in the front office. But I just feel like if we give more, other than I'm cool with the franchise tag, which is probably 19-20 mil. But that's only under the purpose of like, it's a prove it deal, right? It's one of those things where like, we want you to stay, but we need you to prove that you can be a 700, 800, 900 yard wide receiver for us consistently. He just hasn't been that guy. He hasn't been able to do so. And if we do bring a Marvin Harrison Jr. in there, and I get people are like, well, that will sway the attention away from him and put it on Marvin. Yeah, that's true. But we don't know if Marvin's going to be there. We don't know if Marvin's going to be there. We don't know if we're going to be playing a gambling game and if Malik, is going to be there. If Roma's going to be there. I do like Roma Dunze. I really do. It's just right now with the way that things are falling, it's kind of Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's there or not, right? If he's there, you get him. It's obvious.
Yeah. I just see the Patriots taking quarterback, and so same with the
Me
Commanders.
too.
I don't know why I'm kind of leaning Jaden Daniels to Washington, Drake May to New England. It might be flip, but
no, I agree with you.
I'm kind of feeling Jaden Daniels too. I don't know why. I feel like that's more of a Cliff guy, Cliff schematic player than
a Drake May would be. Yep.
And then the Patriots, I feel like they would just fall in. I don't know if they'll fall in love with the pick because that's where it gets tricky. But either that, I mean, they don't really have a choice in my eyes. You can't rock with Mac Jones or Bailey Zapp.
You can't, or at least
you can't do it. I mean, you can, but I mean, we've seen that story before, and it's just like the worst football you'll ever see in your life. So, I mean, do you take the gamble at 3, maybe trade back, go get more draft capital, and just like pray you're terrible next year and just build with 2 back-end players? Like, that's possible too. Maybe you trade to like another quarterback needy team, go get like JJ McCarthy later on.
Yeah.
I feel like JJ McCarthy fits the fit. Like, I'm going to say it. I think JJ McCarthy to the Patriots might be better than Drake May for them.
Really?
For them. I don't think they will at 3. I think it's crazy.
Well, there was also a rumor out there that the Patriots are considering trading back too.
Yeah, that's something I could see genuinely if Jaden McDaniels and then, or is it Jaden Daniels?
Daniels, yeah.
Okay, Jaden Daniels. I get so confused with the NBA.
Yeah, I know.
Jaden McDaniels, Jalen McDaniels, Jaden's everywhere. So it's just like my head is like,
right.
But yeah, I could see the Patriots genuinely trading back if those 2 guys are gone, because I feel like those are the top 2 quarterback prospects.
Yeah.
And let's say you trade back to 12, you go get a haul, maybe another first-round pick in another year and another top-end pick this year. You can make something shake. Maybe go get JJ McCarthy at like 12 if he's there. Or maybe dabble in with like a Bo Nix in like the 2nd, 3rd round.
True. Yeah. I think if Cliff wasn't hired to the Commanders, I would say Drake May was a slot in there. But now I feel like it is open for Jaden Daniels to potentially go at 2nd overall. Just because the type of player that he is. Would I do it? No. if I was quarterback needy, no, I wouldn't do it. But I mean, it fits what Cliff probably wants to do. I think you're 100% right on that. And I think that Drake May would be the best suited quarterback for a Patriots organization. I'm not talking about their coaching staff. I don't really know who they are or what they're about, but just he fits the prototypical wide receiver. Drake May does. So, but I do agree with you. I think JJ McCarthy also is an option if they do decide to trade back. But I still do think it's quarterback. And then the Cardinals are going to be left with the 4th. It's just people are trying to put that little bait out there saying, oh, the Cardinals could be a potential trade back as well at 4th. And we could possibly see 4 quarterbacks. I just don't see that. That might be a little too much, especially for JJ McCarthy to be moved off of the 4th. Like that's crazy.
No chance.
Yeah.
I can see him going top 10 though. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
genuinely can.
Yeah.
I could have saw it before the draft because I mean he just wins
Yeah.
regardless of what it is, and people are trying to like discredit him. Like at the end of the day, he wins football games.
Yeah. This is what it matters. Yeah.
So I mean, would they go undefeated this year?
I mean, they won the championship. I know that.
I know that. Yeah, they definitely won
Yeah.
that, and Jim Harbaugh went on top. And I mean,
Hmm.
I believe he even went on like a podcast and was speaking like this kid is going to go higher than people think. Like, and then next thing you know, these rumors start coming out like JJ McCarthy's stock is climbing and he's projected now in the top 10. And it's
Isn't that
like
crazy?
he just went from like a second, third round pick to potential top 10.
Yeah.
First of all, the money on that, shout out to you. You know, if you secure
Yeah.
that, like big ups, big ups to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting free agency next week. The start of the year starts on Wednesday, but we get rumors, or we would get reports on Mondays and Tuesdays. So buckle up, y'all. Buckle the heck up because
Yep.
this is going to be interesting. And if Michael Pittman does go, right, kind of going back to the wide receiving core of the wide receiver, if Michael Pittman does go, the top two wide receivers are left with Ridley and Hollywood. And that only works out to the favor of Hollywood.
Yeah, because then the market becomes dried up, which means the money for what's available only goes up. And the Cardinals do have money, but do we have enough money to throw at Hollywood? I don't know. Depending on what that price is, I would say you need to be careful. You got to be careful here because you do have 55 million, but are you willing to allocate 19 to 20 and just rip almost half of that into a wide receiver too? Because that's what he would be for us.
Yeah.
And I think
Exactly.
Hollywood would fit very well. I feel like in the first half of the season before he got hurt, what's on tape of Hollywood Brown is really good football. With Josh Dobbs, got robbed of touchdowns. There were so many wide open touchdowns. Even in Kyler's first game back, Kyler missed him. He overshot him by like 5 yards, and Hollywood still attempted to catch it, dove, laid out, and it just still wasn't enough. Like, I feel like Hollywood has a lot to offer. And maybe in like a slightly reduced role at a wide receiver too, his durability will be better. But again, maybe the franchise tag is more suitable for him.
Yeah.
And I think I'm more comfortable going that route now that you kind of mentioned it. I was thinking kind of just extend him. Either way, you know, I'll take that like 14, 15. If he feels like it's a low ball and nothing goes anywhere, then franchise tag.
Franchise
Take
tag
that
him.
19 million for a year and just evaluate. Maybe trade him at the deadline.
Well,
If things just aren't panning out and go get some assets for him, maybe for a wide receiver needy team. If someone goes down later on in the season or some team just needs a receiver, you can trade him at the deadline.
Yeah, 100%. And think of this too. So I'm just looking at a article here from CBS, and obviously take it with a grain of salt, right? Every ranking is based off somebody's opinion, but right now they have the top 25 free agents. Right now, the top 25 free agents. They got number 1, Kirk Cousins. We don't need a quarterback, obviously.
No.
Number 2, Mike Evans. He's gone.
Yep.
Number 3, Michael Pittman. Most likely will be gone. Number 4, Tyron Smith, offensive tackle from the Cowboys.
Not
Number
coming
5.
there.
Yeah, number 5, Marquise Hollywood Brown. Number 8, Calvin Ridley. And then between them, there's offensive linemen. Yo, he's probably going to be the best wide receiver on the open market if Pittman goes. We know what he's about. As Cardinal fans, we've seen him, right? Week in and week out. But it doesn't matter. It matters is what he has done and what he could potentially be. And somebody's going to pay him.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that we have going for us is that we can franchise tag him, like you said.
Yep. I mean, we could also transition tag him, I believe is what it's called, where
that would be cheaper.
The market.
Yeah. That would
possibly because if he goes out and Carolina's like, cool, here's 23 million. It's like, okay, well, you got it.
Nice knowing you, yeah.
You got it. That's not us. I'll tell you that much. But even Michael Pittman, like, I love Michael Pittman. Don't get me wrong. Like, big body receiver, 6'4", 6'3". It's kind of scary just dabbling into anybody with injury concerns who's gone down. Like, we kind of have a homegrown Hollywood Brown who I'm scared to give a contract to. Like, Michael Pittman kind of brings similar concerns. Granted, he's almost cracked 1,000 in every season the past 3 years, but his rookie season played a couple games. I mean, he has 2 concussions in his career.
Yeah.
Anyone who has concussions are scary, but Michael Pittman ends up playing most of the games.
True. True.
He ends up playing like 14, 15 a game, but that's going to cost a jack ton of money too. Like that's probably going to be like way more than Hollywood, maybe in like the 20s, especially with the updated salary cap. Mike Evans just got, I don't even know, like what, 26 a year? Pittman's not super far behind.
Yeah.
Pittman's probably going
And
to get
younger.
like 2021, and he's 26.
Yep.
It's scary, man.
So this is gonna be interesting, man. Next week is gonna be absolutely wild. I'm just curious to figure out how the Cardinals are gonna play this, like because now we're kind of stuck with like if Hollywood does go, we're left with Rondo, Moore, and Pascal.
Yeah. And, ugh. Ugh.
And that can change, like you said. If we want to fall at the number 4th to fall, like at the player to fall, and if he's there, then we feel a little bit better about the 2023 season. But we and you both agree we want to compete this year, right? We want to make
Oh,
sure that we
for
compete.
sure.
It's not going to be rebuilding year, blah 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 blah. We got to compete, man.
I don't think Jonathan Gannon or Monty Ossenfort are sitting here either, like
Yeah,
looking for baby progress. Everything I've heard from Jonathan Gannon, he's ready now. Like
yeah,
last year was whatever last year was, right? We know what last year was. It was a throwaway year. It's just get better. We made progress. They like where they are right now. You give your franchise quarterback, he kind of established that again on another interview. And he likes where we're at. But at the end of the day, you're not settling for 4 wins.
right.
You're looking to improve. And now you have your franchise quarterback ready for the entire offseason
Year,
leading into the next year. This is a completely different year than last year was. Last year was just fixing the salary cap, cutting ties with players that necessarily aren't culture fits, kind of establishing yourself in year one. You got all these people trying to like figure that out. Now Monty Ossenfort kind of has his SH down now. Like
yeah,
it's kind of his team. They have a direction. This is Jonathan Gannon got hired like later on in the draft process. So it was hard for them to kind of connect, but like throughout the season, that connection grew. Now they kind of are on the same page. They
yeah.
have a whole off season to kind of get together now and figure it out. And I think this is going to be a way better situation for us going forward. And if we finish with anything under 8 wins, I'm going to be a little disappointed. I feel like we should be able to double it. I mean, we had 4 last year. Let's just say with an upgraded team. Hopefully, Michael Bidwell allows Monty Ossenfort to actually spend on whoever he wants.
He
Like
said he's going to have the resources.
I'm praying that he's not lying. Like Monty Ossenfort, I'm praying at least just has the ability to be like, hey, Christian Wilkins, who is a legit option. Miami's letting him test the market. So that's a fantastic person to bring in. I think you just throw him a blank check and be like, put a number down. Put a number down.
Did you hear your top guy that you wanted like months ago? Jalen Johnson most likely will stay with the Bears. Like
yeah, I saw that coming. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ryan Poles said he's not going anywhere mid-season. So
yeah,
it sucks, but you gotta move on. But Christian Wilkins is hitting the market. That's a prospect I love. I don't know how you feel about him.
yeah. Oh yeah, DT right?
In
Interior
Miami. Yeah,
we need it. we need it.
Anything we can get, and the
Brian
fact that he's hitting the market. I'm kind of falling off the hill of Brian Burns.
Okay.
I don't know about you. The money's crazy, and then on
it is
top
crazy.
of that, like I don't think we're in a position to necessarily allocate that. I'd rather get interior help than edge help right now. I'd rather draft edge like Chop Robinson, for example, at 27 if he's there, or Cooper DeJean. I'm kind of falling in love with as well at that pick. He might go a little before, but those are 2 great prospects too. Like that's what I'm saying. I love this draft. Love this draft. I think it's so stacked with offensive linemen. I feel like there's a pretty decent amount of corners as well that I think the Cardinals will dabble in on.
They met with Terry and Arnold.
We did.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Kool-Aid is always kind of a name out there, kind of cool name and just in general, but like also from Alabama, Wiggins, from Clemson. So there's a lot of good cornerbacks that hopefully could pan out to be pretty good players here in the NFL. But that 27th overall is just, we got to figure out, man, there's 26 teams picking right before us, and they could either be on a run on cornerbacks, they could be on a run on wide receivers, it could be a run on offensive linemen. We don't know until it happens and kind of see who falls. Do you see the Cardinals moving up with that 27th overall spot?
I was just about to ask you. I wonder how aggressive Monty's going to be. Like if there's a prospect that he loves at 22, and he's just so like infatuated and can't see it. I wonder if Monty Ossenford just pulls the trigger and he just trades up in that position, or if he's going to stay pat at 27. For some reason, I feel a trade up. I feel like 27 is too low for a prospect that they're going to want. I feel like it's going to be an edge or a corner with that second pick.
That'd be ideal. Yeah. And then with
I
that
feel
second
like,
round, maybe a offensive lineman or something.
yeah, I feel like we're going to go O-line, like interior line, maybe a tackle with DJ Humphries out. Everyone's talking positive on Paris Johnson as well. Like DJ Humphries was talking to Justin Pugh on like a podcast, and they both are just praising him, like how it's incredible what he did in year one. And the fact that even transitioning from left to right is just insanely hard. And Paris Johnson comes in here year one and plays borderline phenomenal football. So I'm very excited for his year two and his development.
Yeah.
And if we can just solidify the other side, because I think DJ Humphries is, I don't know if we'll cut him. I kind of think it makes sense, but I'm starting to not feel it. I don't know why.
Like cut him.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm just feeling that they're not going to part ways.
It almost kind of seems like he's progressing to be. We don't know when he's going to be ready, but what we're hearing is the fact that obviously he's progressing well. Is what they're saying.
Yeah.
Right now, the Arizona Cardinals only have 3 people, or I guess let's say 2 people that really have value that they can get anything back for. DJ Humphries being one, and the value took a hit when he got hurt, and then Buddha. Yeah. That's it. I don't think anybody wants to get rid of Buddha, but if they do, we understand it. We understand the side of it all. But like if we're looking to compete, don't get rid of Buddha. You know what I mean? You only get rid of Buddha if you're like, oh, here we will get right in another second year of the rebuild where we're just going baby steps. No, we're with what, like you said, with what we're hearing from JG, it looks like we're trying to compete, right? We're not saying Super Bowl. We're trying to compete. We're trying to stay in the NFL and be relevant. So keep Buddha.
Super Bowl. I think they want the Super Bowl, obviously.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody wants
the Super Bowl. Short of anything else, they're not here to just compete. They want that Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I guess realistically, like, do you think that they're Super Bowl contenders? Like that's
right now.
Question,
it's tough to evaluate, especially with all the money. I mean, this next week will be very telling to see what kind of holes they patch up and how much money they're willing to allocate. Then you'll be able to judge a little more. But it's very hard right now because no clue. Like, there's so many things out there. Like, are we going to go sign an offensive lineman? Maybe Christian Wilkins? Are we going to have negotiations with him? Hollywood Brown? Are we even going to bring him back? Like, the holes in this team are ridiculous.
Yeah.
But we have every asset possible to fill a ton of them. So it's tough. This roster's not going to look the same in the next 2 months. It's going to shape up.
No, 100% agree. I 100% agree. Kind of going back. I know we're talking about free agency, but I do see a comment here on the chat. A guy that I really do like in the combine, the draft, and I think I've mocked him over to the Cardinals. Brian Murphy, man. If the Cardinals can, like, here's the thing too, like we just talked about, like, can the Cardinals trade up, right, to maybe, let's say, the cornerback or defensive lineman? Dude, Brian Murphy looks pretty darn good.
He does.
I feel like the Cardinals can have a very, very good first round if we get the wide receiver. So, like, ideally, I would want an offensive piece and a defensive piece, ideally, right? And obviously, I think we both are kind of set up. If Marvin's there, keep getting up for it. There's no talk. That's going to be an A+ for everybody on the board. What's going to happen at the 27th? If we can get Byron Murphy, I apologize, Byron Murphy, bro, that's the interior. That's the interior. But like you said, it doesn't matter what happens in free agency as well. So, like, cornerback, oh man, I'm so excited. It's finally here, or at least next week.
Byron Murphy, the only thing that scares me is his size, because I believe he's 6'1" as a nose tackle. But man, like, his tape is crazy. He's just super twitchy. He's just insanely strong. Great run defender. And he just blows plays up. So if we can land him at 27, I'm not going to complain. I think that'd be a fantastic pick. Okay. Especially even if we go ahead and sign Christian Wilkins, I feel like Byron Murphy would still be a good pick.
Right there, bro, right next to him. Like, get rid of Fotu, get rid of because I don't think we have Lawrence anymore. Rashad Lawrence. I don't think we have him anymore. But get rid of Fotu or
No,
just bench him or put him in the depth, whatever
right.
you need to do. But yeah, right. I mean, that interior is automatically solidified
Bolstered
right
up
there.
with those 2 picks right there. And then there's so many edge rushers too. So you have BJ Ojolari, and if you want an edge rusher, go get one. You want a corner too, go solidify it. Go sign one too. Go
Yeah.
do whatever you want. Go get a vet. We need something. I'm so excited, and I'm praying my expectations don't just get shit on in the next couple of weeks. We're just looking at a team where it's like, yeah, what do we do?
Right.
Franchise tagged Hollywood Brown and
Oh,
signed Jesse Lakuta. And
oh.
I'm pretty sure he's still on the roster, or we signed him earlier. But like,
Yeah,
just one
yeah,
of
we
those
did.
names, like, I'd be sick to my stomach.
No, I agree. I know you said Byron Murphy worries you. He's 6'1". I'm not trying to throw anything out there. Aaron Donald 6'1" too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily worried. I feel like if there's anything you're looking at, like, I no hesitation would pull the trigger on that. But I'm
Yeah,
saying if there's anything in his game, that's like the only thing. You
that's
just
fair.
don't want to get thrown around. And I don't know I don't know the. Let me look it up real quick. I want to look up the weight on him real quick versus Aaron Donald. So he is. Do you have it?
Yeah, 308 for Byron, and then Aaron Donald's 284. Is that the
Yeah,
numbers you're getting?
yeah. I feel like he was a little bulkier.
Yeah,
Byron Murphy. Aaron Donald's just a freaking tank. Mother trucker is literally like 6 point something body fat or 4%.
True.
Dude is just yoked out of his mind. That's the greatest defensive player ever in
Yeah,
my
no,
eyes, or one of them, top 5. But
It's
I had no hesitation with Byron Murphy, though.
yeah. It's gonna be interesting, man. It really is. I do agree with you. I don't think it should dissuade the Cardinals if they do go after a will. And that's the thing. We don't. There's nothing telling us. It's just as fans, we would love to get that interior right, defensive lineman piece. That would be great. What do you think the Arizona Cardinals need to focus on? And I think we talked about this a little earlier, but now that we're kind of here 1 week away for free agency, give me two positions. What do you want the Cardinals in free agency?
If I could only pick 2, I'm gonna give you 3. I'm gonna give you my top 2 and then the third like outlier.
Perfect.
I'm gonna go number 1. I want Christian Wilkins. That's the one person I want. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I'm gonna say interior defensive line. I'm gonna say corner.
Okay.
And then if there's like a third, I'm gonna look into the offensive lineman.
Okay.
And see what you can dabble in on. Either solidify something on the inside, maybe a left guard, and then honestly, Cooper Beebe is someone who has been on my radar for the past like month and a half. And in every mock draft I end up doing, I just keep getting him. And he keeps like landing in a position where we can take him. And I'm like, if we can land Cooper Beebe, and then let's just say, I don't know if DJ Humphries is ever going to come back and be the same. I love DJ Humphries for the locker room. I love DJ Humphries when he's healthy. I feel like he's a very solid asset, but I don't know long term if that's going to be the answer for the next 1 to 2 seasons. So maybe go dabble in on left tackles. I don't know what. I know this is pretty guard heavy free agency.
Yeah,
I believe so. It's tough, but maybe you dabble in a little bit and just pray.
Yeah, you got let me see here. Who was the Robert Hunt, a guard from Miami?
Yeah.
I really like him. Andre James, I don't really know too much about him, but he's a center for the Raiders. We know about the center from Ray. We got burned from a center by Ronnie Hudson before. I'm not gonna
good too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna blame it on Andre James here, but we got burned before by a center from the Raiders. And then you got Kevin Dotson, offensive guard from the Rams. It seems like there's a good amount of offensive linemen, tackles, and guards. Believe it or not, I'm looking at this list. Dalton Reisner, he's a guard. So like there's some Kevin Zietler, guard from the Ravens. So like there's guards and offensive tackles as well. So I like your list. I really truly do. I think interior defensive line, and then cornerback. But like that corner, like that number 2 for me can either be swayed until edge or cornerback, for me. But then I agree with you also in the third, the notable one, offensive lineman, primarily guard, and that's going to be the where's Hernandez plays
Right guard.
Right guard, right? So yeah, left guard. Yeah, the left guard is what we're.
Yeah.
That's where Wilkinson was kind of getting stronger. Yeah, that's what
Reliza.
we're needing. Yep.
I'm cool with rocking Froholt for another year. I think I'm comfortable with that.
He did decent. He
I
did.
think I'm
Oh, good.
comfortable.
I'm sorry, not decent. He did good. He
I
didn't
think
do.
I'm comfortable if you bolster it up a little bit and just see what he has. I wouldn't be against it. And then obviously you need to bring in a left tackle for however long that's going to be, or a right tackle, if depending on if they want to switch Paris. I think Paris is our right tackle. I
Yeah.
don't think they're going to mess up the development of him and switch him over and kind of just teeter totter back and forth from your rookie year to second year. I think you just let him go, right?
If DJ Humphries is coming back, keep him there. 100%. Yeah.
I think you go sign one. Also, shout out Michael. Appreciate you.
Let's go, Michael. Appreciate you, man.
I forgot to mention that. I pulled it up and just haven't said anything. Appreciate you, Michael. But it's tough because there's a lot of positions this team needs, but I feel like those are just pretty straightforward in free agency, and then you can address everything else in the draft.
Hear me out.
Bryce Huff.
We just gone through scenarios. Hear me out. Wilkinson. Bryce Huff would be cheaper than Brian Burns for sure.
It would.
And he does have production to back him up. Solidify your defensive line. If like, let's say, for example, the Cardinals are going after two big pieces, and I mean like superstar pieces, right? And I mean superstar by like big money being dropped, right? Wilkinson, Brian Huff, that's your edge, and then you got BJ Ojolari, and then you got Brian Huff, right? And then you got your interior there, and then you'll focus on the other side of the interior in the draft, right? You got your D-line ready to go.
Yeah.
And then you get yourself a guard. Man, I feel like this free agency class could be really, really good. And just really depending on how Monty's going to move his money. Like, we could still get Monty, but...
Are you comfortable paying Bryce Huff? Because he's had 1 year over 10 sacks. It went from like, I'm going to go out on a limb. I think it was 3.5 to 10 the last time I looked. But obviously, he's super young in his career, which is kind of where you're looking at upside and what's on tape last year. Because people break out in their last year. Hassan Reddick did.
True.
In his last year in Arizona. And it's because they played him in his right position. So obviously scenario and everything, what's on tape. But are you comfortable paying him? Because I didn't really watch a lot of Bryce Huff tape.
With what I'm hearing from Jets fans, they really want him back. They really, really, really want him back. But also, I remember when we signed Jordan Phillips. That was his name, right?
I hate Jordan Phillips. No, I hate the strong word. I dislike Jordan Phillips. Like every time this man was on the field, he would produce like very minimal.
Yeah.
And then he's hurt. And it's like, oh my gosh. And then in Buffalo, he just looks like a perennial all-star. And
yeah,
it's like he revives it every time he plays for Buffalo. It's like the Superman of whatever for them. And I'm so like, I hate it because you watch the Buffalo Bills game in the playoffs and Jordan Phillips with the sack. Jordan Phillips just shrubs the run and sheds off 3 people and tackles them for a 3-yard loss. It's like, where was this?
But I do remember when we signed him, there was Buffalo fans that were like, "Oh, good luck, right? Okay, he was cool for us. Good luck." So I don't know. It's kind of really tough to go base off of that. But I do feel like when we got Jordan Phillips, I wasn't over the moon. I'm like even Devondre Campbell, that free agency class, was like, okay, cool. All right, let's see what they do. I wasn't over the moon. Like I really wasn't. I think I would be a little bit more excited about Huff if we did. That doesn't mean he's going to work, but like, I don't think he's going to go for Brian Burns money, but we do need edge. Like that's kind of where my mind is going. But I mean, at the end of the day is what's Monty willing to do, right? What's Monty willing to do? So,
I mean, I don't think I'd be opposed. I'd have to watch tape.
Yeah,
Bryce Huff, and it has to be more than just the 10 sacks. I want to see like all impact plays because I do remember 1 sack from Bryce Huff. I believe it was against like Denver. It was like a swim to the outside, and then Russell Wilson tried like stepping up, and he just like, I don't even know how to explain it. He like swim to the outside, beat him. Russell Wilson stepped up, and he kind of just like slid back and met him in the hole. Like ridiculous play. That's literally the only play that comes to my mind in terms of the Jets. I did not watch Jets games.
Oh yeah, no, I don't blame
you
at all. So much hype for that organization, and then Rodgers goes down in like the first drive. It's wild, man.
Like that whole play of the game.
That whole season came crashing down in the first. It's nuts, bro. Two things I'm going to dive into. We got my guy here, Jeffrey, saying we need a third string quarterback. We talked about this on our last podcast. Do you still think that the Cardinals are going to be rocking with just two?
Yes. I think there will be a signing. I don't know who it is, but there'll probably be a veteran, obviously, to compete in the preseason. And then you're praying Clayton Tune beats him out at that point. I don't think you roster three. I think you practice squad one and get a young quarterback, kind of like how they did with who do we have? McSorley, David Blau last year.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get a young guy, not necessarily older veteran, but someone who's semi-established. I don't know who that's gonna be. I'd have to look at it. Maybe like a 29, 30-year-old. And then just let him battle it out. But you're praying Clayton Tune wins that, and then you rock with two quarterbacks. That's the ideal situation there.
So you think signing one is a realistic, but you think that by the 53-man roster comes
just
up
for the
with-
preseason and just see what he had. I mean, if he beats him out, he beats him out. Clayton
Yeah.
Tune, then you can rock Clayton Tune practice squad. But I would rather have Clayton Tune win that. I want to see Clayton Tune take a leap and actually develop, which would be nice to kind of have a homegrown backup quarterback who's young on a rookie deal that you basically just get to have the luxury of just having him come through the system,
Yeah.
the entire system. So that's my expectation is he takes a decent leap, and I'm hoping we see that in preseason too. Obviously, preseason doesn't matter,
Right.
but
There's
I'm hoping we see that.
3 top quarterbacks right now in free agency. Kirk, not going to happen. Ryan Tannehill, not going to happen. Baker, not going to happen, obviously.
No.
And there's a big drop off, and it seems like it's backup QBs from there. Gardner Minshew.
He's going to get paid.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston. That seems to be the next following 3 after that. We're not even talking about those type of quarterbacks, right? Like we're not even, we're talking about
like
lower tier.
Oh my, there's not many quarterbacks out there. That's like a Blaine Gabbert is who I was thinking.
Okay,
like
so you're thinking about that type of name. Okay.
I don't think we're getting a Blaine Gabbert, like a David Blau.
That type of name is what you're thinking.
Just someone to compete.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you don't want I don't know. I'm all for competition.
Yeah, me too.
All for it. People are like, oh, you don't want to put that pressure on them. Like, these are NFL players. Put pressure on people. Like,
put pressure.
I promise you, they're not scared of a little competition. They've competed their whole lives. And I know we're growing up in a generation of people who get participation trophies, but I'm telling you, they no problem competing. And if you're in that position, I'm signing a vet. Like, you don't have this position secured.
Let me ask you this, Mythic, real quick. Would you rather the Cardinals draft a quarterback as opposed to sign a vet? Because that still would be cheaper. And I'm talking about after the 3rd round. We have 6 picks in the top, right? I'm talking about 4.
I think we have 7 in the first 3 rounds, 6 in the top 100.
So, like, I'm talking about, like, if we can get a quarterback somewhere in, like, the
like 5th, 6th round?
Yeah. I mean, why not? Kind of like a Clayton Tune that you never know. I mean, you never know. Let's say, for example, somebody does fall. That's like, okay, hey, he was a really good prospect, or why not, right? Because I was really high on Clayton Tune myself. Sorry about that. I was really high on Clayton Tune coming out of the draft, and it sucks that his opportunity wasn't given to him because of obviously Dobbs. But like, if the Cardinals could do something like that, that would be cheaper than getting a vet.
It just depends where Clayton Tune's at, honestly. If Clayton Tune's just not the answer and they just don't see enough from him, then maybe you dabble in. But personally, I'd rather establish just everything else. There were gems last year. There were gems last year in our draft. Like, was it Cottrell Clark was our 6th round pick? And then our 5th round. Oh, man, I know we have a good 5th round.
Fifth was
Garrett Williams was 3rd, right?
Yeah, 5th was Tune. 6th or 7th was Cottrell Clark, I believe. We still don't know what Gaines is going to do. Stills was, I believe, a 6th, if I'm not mistaken. Dante Stills.
Yeah, Dante Stills. Gosh, dude, I don't know why his name just keeps slipping from my head, but Dante Stills was a gem for us, and that's another great rotational piece. I don't know if he's going to step up this year, but I'm hoping we see a decent amount of him. And I think even if we do end up signing Wilkins and let's just say we get Byron Murphy, that's a good rotation right there.
Yeah.
That's a great rotation. We haven't had a nose tackle rotation in 2007 with Darnell Dockett. Exactly. And Dan Williams at one point, and that was kind of it.
So do you think a Penix can fall that far? His stock took a big hit.
I don't think Penix is going to fall. I think Penix will go like 3rd, 4th round.
We
I
got
don't think
three.
he's
We
going
got
to
three
go right
third
away.
round picks. No.
No,
Okay.
I would not take him in the third. It's just going to rile. There's so many positions that you can get. I feel like this class is deep. Like, I think it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm excited. This is the most excited I've been for a draft in a long time. And I think it's because we actually have a competent GM that makes me a little more
A little
like
bit more tense.
excited than
That's fair.
kind of just like, okay, we're gonna jack this up.
Yeah.
Like it's in a position where I'm actually like excited. Like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see what he does. Not
Yeah.
like, oh great, I can't wait to pray to God and hope we don't fumble the 8th overall pick, right? You have all these prospects and somehow we're fumbling the 8th overall pick. Like, how did that
Isaiah
happen?
Simmons. Buddy, what he could have been. It's just it's very unfortunate, man. It really is. But let's continue to talk about Steve Keim first round pick, shall we? Let's talk about this real quick. The Zayvon Collins
Whew.
option, the 5th-year option. What are your
Decline it.
thoughts?
Decline it.
Decline it.
Don't pick it up. I feel like there's no, like, I don't know how to even explain it. I feel like there's no position for him.
He's lost. Yeah.
I don't know what you do. Because as an edge, he's not terrible. This is probably the best football he's played. But he's not necessarily good either. There's not enough flashes on the field. And I feel like this year was his best year by far. I haven't seen enough for him to even get edge money, even close to anything. Like, what are you going to pick up that 5th-year option and just have a super stacked outside linebacker room? Because I think we're going to pick up an edge this year in the draft. I genuinely do. I don't know if it's going to be 27 or 2nd round, but I think we're going to get one. And that would just leave this room even more crowded with a team where you have BJ Ojolari, who you're expecting to take a step. And I think in year 2, fully healthy going into the offseason, he's going to be fantastic.
And then Cam Thomas, which has always been there. Victor
Dennis
Gardick. It's just, yeah. I mean, and then Zayvon Collins to add. Yeah, it is a crowded room. It really is. Huh.
But it's like a crowded room of like mediocrity. It's not even like a crowded room. Mediocrity is not really the word because Dennis Gardick looks pretty good when he actually gets opportunity. And then
it's flashy.
Cam Thomas hasn't panned out, but he is still super young. But I feel like he's a good rotational player. I don't feel like he's anything more than that right now. And then Zayvon Collins, just for what he is, he's a 1st-round pick, right? I guess he's playing out of position, but it's just there's nothing there in my eyes that solidifies him as a player long term. I'm comfortable declining that 5th-year option. If he pans out somewhere else, kudos to him.
Yeah.
I've never been high on him to begin with.
Yeah, I'm right there with you too. I feel like he's just lost in the thought of what are we gonna do with him. It's just there's no right position for him, and I think we're trying to fit a square in a circle-shaped box, and it's just not working out. So I agree with you 100%. I think the Arizona Cardinals decline it. They should
I
decline
think he's a smart football player too. Like, I feel like he is really intelligent. I feel like he knows what to do. I just feel like he just doesn't do it a lot of times. Like, there are times where it's like he makes the right play and he like blows up the right gap, but I don't know. For whatever reason, it's just not materializing on the field. I think he's a smart football player, though. I really
Yeah.
do. I'm
I
not
think
going
he's
to
a
knock
smart
him.
person in general. I think he's a really, really well thought out young man. It's just I just don't know if he's going to be able to fit with the Cardinals, especially with the big needs. I agree with you. I think edge is definitely something that needs to be addressed. And it's going to make it more crowded for sure.
We definitely need more pressure on the outside.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's close up shop here. I think we had an overall great conversation. We dived into free agency. We dived into rumors. We dived into all sorts of different stuff. So if you guys just chimed in, definitely go ahead and make sure you watch it on the playback. If you guys haven't already smacked the like button, do us that huge favor, smack it up. And we're going to continue to go live here on Mondays, and we'll let you know here in terms of what the schedule is going to look like once we ramp up with the offseason coming our way. So ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cards. Later.